Rusellae, situated in the archaeological area of Rusellae, was an important ancient town of Etruria, and subsequently of ancient Rome, which survived until the Middle Ages before being abandoned. The impressive remains lie near the modern frazione or village of Rusellae in the comune of Grosto. The remains of the ancient buildings were brought to light by means of a long campaign of excavations carried out by archaeologist Aldo Mazzali in the 1950s. More recent work has revealed many more impressive buildings. Geography. Rusellae was located at the point of transition between the valley of Ombrone and the Maremma of Grosto, on the shore of the ancient Lake Praille. The ruins are about 15 kilometers southeast of Vetalonia and 8 kilometers northeast of Grosto. They are situated on a hill with two summits, the higher of which is 194 meters above sea level. One summit is occupied by a Roman amphitheater, the other by a tower of uncertain date. The local travertine was extensively used as a building material. Roman remains have also been found 3 kilometers to the south, at hot springs used for public bathing to this day. Excavations have revealed the newly identified Roman port on the Ombrone River, located within the Maremma National Park. The port provided an important commercial focus for the ancient city of Rusellae and for the exchange of goods around the Via Aurelia. The port is associated with a temple dedicated to Diana Umbronesis, set on a rocky promontory to the south, which acted as a marker for the coastal trade in the area. This sanctuary, together with a second, Severan temple, are part of ongoing excavations. History. The first traces of settlement are shown in layers containing relics of Villanovan and at the end of 7th, early 6th century BC. Founded as a city in the 7th century BC, it was quoted by Dionysius of Halicarnassus as one of the cities that brought help to the Latins in the war against the Roman king Tarquinius Priscus. It developed to the detriment of neighboring cities, in particular Vetalonia. Rusellae was associated with, but not actually one of, the 12 cities of the Etruscan Confederation. The discovery of Attic vases with red figures testifies to the city's commercial contacts with Greece and the Greek colonies of southern Italy. The Romans captured it in 294 BC. In 205 BC, it contributed grain and timber for the fleet of Scipio Africanus. A colony was founded here either by the Triumviri or by Augustus. In 935 it is reported that the town was destroyed by Saracens. It was not rebuilt because of a malaria epidemic. The site was deserted in 1138, although still occasionally used. The episcopal see was transferred to Grosto, which is now the provincial capital. Archaeology. Boundary wall. The impressive Cyclopean walls were built by the Etruscans between the 7th and 6th centuries BC. The perimeter of the city wall is over 3 kilometers, with an average height of about 7 meters. The walls consist of irregular, unworked blocks of travertine, often measuring as much as 2.75 by 1.2 meters. Roman amphitheater on the top of the hill north of the city. The amphitheater dates from the 1st century AD. The earth removed to create the arena was probably used as a basis for the banks of seating. The walls of Opus Reticulatum suggest a date of the beginning of the 1st century AD, which was confirmed by the discovery of sealed, Aretine ceramic. Inside the arena, along the major axis, 4 stones aligned with regularly spaced holes were discovered that could be used to divide it by stage scenery. During the early Middle Ages, the building became a fortified enclosure, using building material plundered from Roman buildings. This fortress would have been a castrum in late antiquity or the early Middle Ages, in defense of Byzantine territories to counter the advance of the Lombards. The area remained occupied until at least the 16th century, as evidenced by the various fragments of archaic mauolica. House of the Mosaics. The first traces of the house date back to the late Republican period. After extensive destruction in 9080 BC, it was enlarged and restored, as well as enriched with 3 statues of Tiberius, Livia and Drusus Minor. During the Claudian era there was a partial destruction, perhaps due to a fire, followed by an immediate restoration. At the same time, the baths in the southern half and the house became public rather than residential. This phrase witnessed the installation of mosaics in the baths and tablinum. Other changes affected the position of the columns and fountain peristyle, while the small laconica were adorned with stucco decorations in high relief. The domus underwent substantial transformation between the 4th to 7th centuries, and in late antiquity a shop occupied the former living rooms. The workshop of a locksmith produced thick layers of ash, coal and waste disposed on almost all floors, blackened by of metallurgy. Furthermore, the finds of bronze and metal objects have led to the hypothesis that in this workshop objects were not produced from scratch, but reused antiques from Etruscan tombs and from public and private buildings of the Roman period. Towards the end of the 4th century the workshop and what remained of the domus were abandoned, and in the course of the 6th century witnessed burials of infants above the level of collapse. Temple of Augustales. On the southern part of the site, close to the mosaics of the domus, are the archaeological remains of the ancient Roman temple of Flamens Augustales, which was built in the imperial period. This was transformed in the early Middle Ages into a Christian church dedicated to Saint Sylvester from 765. The thermal baths on the north slopes of the hill. The thermal complex of the Roman period is characterized by walls of opus reticulatum. The structure is divided into 2 sectors. The first area covers the northern section, almost rectangular, the long sides facing east-west and centered on a bath. The second sector is characterized by a highly irregular plan in which there is a room with 2 niches, 2, accessed via a double staircase, a large room with an apse in the southwestern corner, 3, and another larger room, immediately to the east, 4. A complex system of canals and tunnels with elaborate brick arches indicates the thermal use of the rooms. The characteristics of the opus mixtum used for the structure suggest a date between the last quarter of the 1st century AD and the first quarter of the next. House of the Impluvium. The House of the Impluvium is an early example of an italic house with an impluviate roof and was excavated by Luigi Donati.